Welcome to the Sovereignty Health and Wellness Center channel. I am Chad Gold. I'm a certified health education specialist and a master NLP health and life coach. This episode is the finale in a three-part group of videos. If you haven't seen 820 and 920, I recommend them for clarifying this one, though I will summarize a bit here. In the three videos, I am illustrating a simple scale of relative mindfulness composed of three archetypal modes that we can all find ourselves in throughout our lives. I call the least mindful mode the sleeper. I don't expect hardly any of you to be mostly living in the sleeper mode because sleepers are not curious, inquisitive, or interested in growing and expanding their consciousness. They eat whatever tastes good, even when their body is not hungry. They are not aware of things like their habits and addictions to foods and other self-medication, or even thought patterns and beliefs that compromise their health. Ultimately, sleepers do not ask why they may feel tired for no apparent reason, why they cannot sleep well or wake up sore and foggy instead of clear and ready to start their day. They are not curious about how to improve or maintain optimal health, and they do not see a connection between what they consume or how they balance movement and rest with how vibrant, alive, and conscious they feel. Questioning and thinking a few moves ahead on the chessboard of life is what sets the second mode I call the seeker apart from the sleeper mode. The seeker seeks to know why they feel the way they do and what foods, activities, routines, habits, thoughts, and beliefs affect how they feel. Seekers are more curious and inquisitive, and though they may believe many different things, they all believe that it may be possible to find ways to significantly improve their health and well-being. Being a masterful seeker can feel like an ultimate goal after many things have been tried and tested in the spirit of the scientist. A more experienced seeker can have a lot of things identified personally about themselves. They know more about what foods, activities, and even situations, people, and thoughts affect their health and feeling of well-being for better or worse. They start to see movement and eventually reach goals such as a healthy BMI, reduced inflammation, reduced symptoms of sensitivities and allergies, better sleep, less anxiety or depression, and better memory and mental clarity, for some examples. Realizing these things may feel like arriving at the ultimate reward for consistent efforts at self-care and health improvement. As such a seasoned seeker, one is right at the turning point, ready to become a teacher. Now, I'm not implying that someone in this most mindful teacher mode is defined by actually taking on a formal teaching role, but a person with a lot of experience as a seeker who has also achieved results in transforming their body, mind, and overall health is certainly capable of sharing what they learned with other seekers. I would also recommend to any seeker that they teach what they learn to others, not only to enrich the lives of the people they love and care about by helping them to increase their mindfulness, but in so doing, they also strengthen their own foundation of mindfulness. So what is the difference between this teacher mode and the seeker mode? Like most experienced seekers, teachers have been finding answers and asking more questions for a very long time. They know a lot more about what does and doesn't work for them. In contrast to the seeker, the teacher has achieved significant results in transforming their body and overall health status, but have also been able to maintain this without major fluctuations over a long period of time. They may have felt that feeling as if they have arrived at the finish line reaching fitness or body composition goals like seekers eventually can. But teachers have found a way of life to maintain their higher level of health and well-being. Seekers will still fluctuate more. They're learning as much what doesn't work for them as what does. And they're still pulled in many directions in their quest to perfect the art of living through self-care. They can crystallize around ideas for a while, such as fad diets, or even get sucked into the hype of pop science. Seekers can also sometimes easily fall prey to the supplement industry. Teachers know that they will always be seekers, but they are calmer about it. There is a sort of peaceful vigilance that comes over the seeker as they become as mindful as the teacher. Not only have they answered many of their big questions, but they have built a foundation of principles, priorities, and values that contribute to a less anxious way of life. This foundation really is a big difference between the teacher and the seeker modes. It is something that is universal in their lives, not just in how they balance eating, moving, resting, and sleeping, but also in their relationships with themselves, others close to them, and the world. Teachers have looked themselves in the eye and confronted things about themselves that are more difficult to face. One of the reasons that we can slip back into the sleeper mode is this challenge. It can be so much easier to escape into indulgences and immediate gratifications that effectively distract us from courageous introspection than it is to sit fully present and conscious of ourselves. At the core of things like addictions or compulsive emotional eating, for example, is a resistance to being present with ourselves. The less mindful we are, the more our attention can be unconsciously directed away from the aspects of ourselves that are uncomfortable. We may tell ourselves we are listening to our bodies, for example, when we crave slow poisons still considered by most people as food, when those things can actually resemble drugs more than food. Please be careful of that popular saying, listen to your body. When our microbiome is in a healthy balance, like it is for teachers, and we know how to interpret our urges and cravings for what our bodies actually want, then it can be a fine saying. But if your gut is overpopulated by microorganisms that feed on refined simple sugars and grains, for example, they will actually influence our moods and cravings to preserve themselves. So who is really talking when we listen to our body? Is it our blood sugar level, enzyme balances, ratios between aerobic and anaerobic microorganisms, or even the balances of neurotransmitters our brains use, many of which are produced in the gut? We get significant changes in our moods from eating, because eating can calm our nerves or spike our blood sugar for a short, quick pick-me-up, especially accompanied by caffeine. It is easy to overdo these things. In the teacher mode, we step off the insulin roller coaster riding ebbs and troughs of blood sugar levels, and the highs and lows that come from other kinds of self-medication too. Let's consider another common way a sleeper will self-medicate. Some teachers do not drink alcohol at all, while others can do so in moderation without suffering its downside or slipping into addiction. But I want you to understand what this feeling is that drinking alcohol produces in the context of mindfulness. The feeling many people love from this drug is escape from themselves. It is escape from the discomforts of inflammation and soreness, even as it thins our blood and temporarily reduces the pressures from swelling. So we get a temporary reprieve from some of our aches and pains. Psychologically, it also helps us to escape from some of our fears that manifest in the form of social anxieties. This feels wonderful at first, but I know we're all familiar with how we can cross a line with this and regret it. How is embarrassing ourselves, for example, going to contribute to the social anxiety we have in sobriety? And then we might use this to drown our sorrows. Sadness and grief can find us in a place where it is painful to face ourselves and process these intense emotions that originate in our mind. Numbing this with self-medication seems to make sense when we just can't simply reason our way out of the pain. But the only way beyond the pain is through it. So drinking alcohol can eventually end up prolonging the pain we are avoiding. Now let's talk about the chemistry. The high we feel from drinking alcohol may make it seem like it is something other than the depressant that it is. When we have aches or anxieties that make us feel heavy and tired, this depressant can actually feel more like a stimulant for a while, as it numbs those exhausting influences. We all know this high is temporary, of course. We also know there's a downside, but it's not just the hangover. For those few hours of sometimes blissful escape, there can be days to pay. This can create a vicious cycle where this depressant leaves us anxious or down the next few days. It is these times that we can crave the short-term relief of the long-term depressant. And if we continue to drink, we just dig ourselves a deeper hole. The ultimate takeaway from this ratio between feeling good for a few hours and feeling worse for days is that as amazing as the high feels, we are actually feeling worse for more of our lives than we're feeling better. The reason why we continue this seemingly counterintuitive behavior is that we go more unconscious and less mindful. This can spill over into every aspect of our lives. This is a good extreme example of what the teacher mode realizes and has rejected. There are so many other examples, though, of how we escape sitting in the present moment with ourselves. We may work too hard and avoid having a social life. We may eat when our body is not hungry, feeling another kind of numbness. Or we may succumb to any form of obsessions, habits, and addictions that divorce our minds from our bodies and postpone our difficult introspective work. An experienced seeker is seeing these things for what they are. They really get familiar with their personal work. We can recognize a teacher as someone who has done the work and maintained a higher level of physical, mental, and emotional health over the years. Teachers realize they will always be seekers, though they rarely slip very far down the scale of mindfulness, even when life's dealer deals out traumatic cards. Thus they seem to most of us like the people that really have their life together. They seem even and consistent in their moods and perspectives compared to most people. In closing this three-part model, I want you to know that this is really central to the work that I do with my clients. Though I am also available session by session, I recommend entertaining the idea of my longer programs too. I describe my services in some detail in episode 620. As a health and life coach, clients consult me for a variety of topics and challenges, from sleeplessness and anxiety to relationships or weight loss, for some examples. Over my 7 years in doing this, most have begun work with me wanting to gain control of their weight. Most weight loss programs can show the initial results of reaching a goal BMI. Many do this with extreme measures, sometimes including surgery or often incorporating drugs and supplements. As this industry realizes that these methods are most often not sustainable, they will even make claims that you will not just lose weight, but keep it off. Some superior programs back up these claims and offer natural, drug-free methods like I do. This is what you want to look for if you're really willing to do the work to transform your body, mind, and emotions from your present state to one of higher energy, deeper, more rejuvenating relaxation and sleep, clearer focus and expressive creativity, abundance, joy, and empathy for the rest of your life. In my programs, I don't simply help you plan what to eat or how to move and relax and how to count all those measurable things like pounds and calories. My coaching philosophy incorporates helping you to become your own health coach for life. This means that I help you to become the teacher. Thank you for hearing me out here, and please contact me with any comments or questions on it. I'm really interested in hearing where you feel you find yourself on this scale. Having listened to the whole presentation here, I know that though you may slip into the sleeper from time to time, that you have a strong foundation in the seeker mode. And if you're often a teacher, you'll know that you straddle the two higher, more mindful modes and only rarely slip into the sleeper mode. Well, that's all for now, but I have more to come. The next model I will present is a bit longer, so I think I will divide it into 3 videos also. I have a workshop I am eager to present when we can all feel comfortable again gathering in groups in the Sovereignty Center here in Boise, Idaho. It's called Mindful Nutrition, and will elaborate on this scale of mindfulness as well as what I'm calling my 10 concentrations for mindful nutrition. Please click that follow button and watch for more videos about this subject. And take a look at my channel. I already have several videos available, and if you're interested in the content, please let me know. Also, consider the people in your life that you love and care about. Would anyone that you know be interested in the subjects that I speak to, or would they benefit from this information? Please share me with them. Cheers.